Welcome to Lifestyle Solopreneur, the community for entrepreneurs who put lifestyle first. Join your host, Flavia Barris, as she interviews successful lifestyle solopreneurs and shares ideas to help you find the perfect balance between lifestyle, business, and self. Flavia is an attorney, marketing expert, and founder of several online academies. She's been featured in major media, including BBC World News, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Post, ESPN Television, and more. Join us for this episode of Lifestyle Solopreneur.
Hey, Lifestyle Solopreneurs. Today we get to speak with Curtis May. He is the creator and owner of PWA, which is short for Practical Wealth Advisors. He's also the host of his own podcast, which is the Practical Wealth Show podcast. The primary focus of his financial planning firm is to help individuals and families become financially free by following the principles of wealth creation that have endured for centuries around the world. As the host of his popular podcast and in his individual meetings with clients, he teaches people that their number one financial asset is not their money, but their knowledge. Welcome to the show, Curtis.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. I love to talk about money, wealth, and all things finance. So having you on is great. I always like to ask people, how did you end up where you are? I mean, the things you're doing today, you have this podcast, you've got this company. What brought you there?
Well, I'm a shorten story, but it's a long progression because I started, so I'm a second generation entrepreneur. So I remember when I went to college, from the time I was 8, my dad told me never make any money, work for somebody else. So I never got that go to school, get a good job talk. And in college, around my junior year, I realized, okay, I'm probably not going to make the NBA, right? Because the NBA was not looking for 5'11" two guards, right? With a mediocre handle. So somebody showed me a check for $400 and said, this is what I made for hours worth of work. And he basically had his insurance license and he was learning how to do that part-time. So I can do that. If this knucklehead can do it, I can do it. So I have a basketball player ego, right? And that was, I hate to say it, almost 40 years ago. Okay. And so I've been doing it ever since. So I progressed through what I call typical advice. Now it's horrible. So let's go back up. I was horrible at this. I was introverted. So I had to work through all that stuff. I was just ambitious, but I wasn't any good. And so I had to work through that. So I'm a big believer, as you'll find out, in books and personal development, because that's kind of got me where I am. And so fast forward, I've been doing about 15 years, discovered a little purple book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And really, I told anybody, if you read the first 4, you kind of got the idea. And which is Cash Flow Quadrants, Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, and Who Took My Money. That kind of really formed the foundation of how I approach it now. So as a kind of non-Wall Street oriented financial person, it took me a minute to get that because I thought, I used to be like Dave Ramsey on steroids. Okay. And I learned how to, I had to work myself out of that and then really get into, what I teach today is something called principles-based planning. And the other thing that during that time, I'll end with this, is that I also discovered, but for your solo entrepreneurs, what business I was really in, which is the marketing business, right? And so I'm not in financial industry. I'm in I'm a marketer of financials. So if you want to create a lifestyle, guys, you have to learn how to make it rain, so to speak. You have to learn how to lead generate so you can kind of work when you want and have the kind of income you need to have to live like you want. And the keys to the kingdom on that is marketing. And so once I've kind of married the two of those together, a unique approach that we teach clients, and then, you got to have something to say. I'm training some people right now. So you got to have something to say as an entrepreneur that makes you unique in the marketplace. And then you got to have somebody to say it to. So that started to come together for me really 6 or 7 years ago as we progress. And that's now I'm the man. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, I mean, you are. And that's the beauty of it is, how you got to where you are today. Because So tell us, what does Practical Wealth Advisors do as a company? Like if I said, hey, who should I send you from my network that might benefit from your services? What would your ideal or maybe your typical client really be like?
Yeah, so the people that find me are their goal is work optional income, right? So they want to become financially free. So I teach principles that help our clients become and remain financially free. And I can go into those a little bit later what they are. But it's basically most people are focused on products and investing. And the way we teach it, investing is last. So the people that tend to find me are real estate investors because they want liquidity, use control of their capital, small business owners because they realize that they can make their business make more money than send it to some fund manager they never met. And so we kind of help them lean into that. And people that aspire to those two things. Those are the people that I'm suited for, that are frustrated, tired of the Wall Street casino, I called it, and want to learn to, are willing to learn to become. Because we teach people that investing is not about buying something, it's more about becoming something. So it's be, then do, then have. And so if you want to become a real investor, a real business owner, I teach that people. So if you're thinking about that, if you love Dave Ramsey, don't call me. Okay.
He's very unique. Dave Ramsey is definitely
and for the right
the
people, he's perfect for, okay? But if you're an entrepreneur, you have to think a different way. So most typical advice is bad for people that are in business for themselves. And so if you feel that, if you want to grow and you want cash flow, why would you lock your money up in something for 20 or 30 years that you have no control? You look at what institutions do, they never do that stuff. So why should you do it? So don't get me started. You might get me started later, but.
Well, I totally get it. You have a podcast too. So when you get started on a topic, you have your own platform where you go on, and what you talk about on the podcast, I'm assuming, is similar to what you do in, PWA.
Yes, we go on Curtis, what I call Curtis Rants. No, just kidding. So in the Practical Wealth show, we kind of show people, our emphasis is on cash flow, right? Building, because you want to become financially free, what we say, in a decade or less. And so you've got to buy assets. What's the asset? Something puts money in your pocket. So what I do on the show, we talk about there's 4 asset classes, right? Business, real estate, paper assets. So most people think mutual funds, stocks, bonds, ETFs, but paper is, we don't give investment advice, but paper is notes, private lending, what are those things called? Tax liens. There's a big life settlements. There's all kinds of ways to generate cash flow with paper, flipping land. I know people that buy land and sell it. So what you have to do is you've got to be open to, you got to figure out what you want. And then there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. And a lot of people just aren't exposed to them. And what I'm trying to do with the show is to teach people to get control of your finances, follow principles that have been around. My principles, okay? Like I throw a book out, The Richest Man in Babylon, right? All I do is really teach the 7 cures for a lean purse, right? Is if you read it, like if you read that, okay, that sounds like Curtis. Well, I sound like that because I have no original thoughts. So, but that's what we talk about in the show. I just try to help people get the fundamentals. Money's not that complicated. 2 + 2 is 4. And most of the world is telling you, it's too complicated. You don't have the time, the temperament, or the training to personally manage your own money. That's nonsense. If you just spend a little time, and I try to give people the confidence when we work with them that you can do this. You're smart enough to do this. It's really common sense. And that's what we talk about in the show in so many words, with different people.
And I love that you're a lifelong learner and you're always working on personal development yourself. It's kind of like there's never an end point. You're always going for more. I know currently you're going on these 90-day sprints. Tell us a little bit more about that and this philosophy. And it might help somebody who needs that in their life too.
Yeah, I think you have to. So when you are going into business, you have to, Dan Sullivan calls it, you live in a performance economy, right? So you have to be self-directed. So one of the things I found that helped me kind of have an operating system, it's a great book and system called The 12-Week Year. And the title of the book is called 12 by Michael Moran, A 12-Week Year, How to Get More Done in 12 Weeks than most people get done in 12 months. And so in the system, every week is a month and every day is a week. And so what it forces you to do is you set like 3, usually 3 goals tops, and like a business goal, a secondary business goal, and usually what I do is I set a health and fitness goal, and then you look at your day. You have to win the day, right? So what do I need to get done today? That's tactics that need to get done today that the end result will have me hit my 12-week outcome, and then you measure that every week. And so most people are focused on, they don't have the right performance indicators. So you should focus on lead indicators like activity. And, if you're in sales, how many appointments, calls did you make? How many appointments did you set? How many people that did you add to your email list today or this week or this month? So you should be looking at stuff. And if you do those things, generally you'll get the results. If you go to the gym 3 or 4 days a week and get your heart rate up, you'll lose weight. You'll be healthier, feel stronger. So, but don't focus on dieting and that kind of stuff. Live right, eat right, work out. Okay. And then do that on a regular basis. So the book kind of lets you break that down. And it's just really fascinating. And if you do it, I would do it with somebody, get a it's called a WAM meeting, weekly accountability meeting, and get a partner. And then you talk about it. Hey, how'd you do? Where are you at in your goals? Okay, what you going to do next week? And it's about 15, 20 minutes. And it's just amazing as you get into the system, how it focuses you and helps. Because if you're in business, you don't have a check on Friday. So you have to make, I was almost cursed, stuff happen. Okay. And if you're transitioning, you got to learn how to work. And it doesn't really matter how you feel that day. If you're in a good mood, I always tell people I don't have the luxury of depression. I have to get up and it's an old commercial. I got to make the donuts, And now I believe in work hard, play hard, because I don't think you can, Dan Sullivan says you can't, what did you say? If you want to double your income, you have to double your time off. So I have the 12-week year. I try to go on vacation once a year, right? So once a quarter, we're going somewhere. So I like to play too.
That's amazing. So you are very principles based, and we do not have time today, unfortunately, to go into every single principle that you teach about wealth because we don't have that kind of time. But you've got a podcast, you've got a lot of information that people can reach out and learn about. But give us just one of those principles that is ages old, centuries old, that's been around forever, but not everybody is savvy to. And tell us a little bit about it, because I'm sure it'll help somebody who's listening right now.
Yeah. So the first thing I teach, or the first two things, one is save, the second one is protect. Well, let's talk about save. So most people don't understand saving. So there's a lesson in Rich Man in Babylon. Part of all you earn is yours to keep. Like you need to stamp that in your brain. And I mean savings. Let me define savings: safe, liquid, accessible, guaranteed. Okay. So like, let's say y'all still clinging to your mutual funds, your 401ks, that's not saving, right? It has risk, right? And you need, the number one problem I see when I work with business owners is lack of liquidity, which is our fourth principle. But it starts with saving. If you want to get into velocity, it starts with saving. So now here's a tip. Savings has to be automatic and systematic, right? That's the thing. It's not a willpower thing. Oh, I'm going to pay the bills. I don't have any money left over. I'm going to save it. That's a mistake. That's how poor people think, right? You have to make it intentional. And so here's a tip. One of the things that we teach, here's a tactical thing, is to create a separate account. We call it the wealth capture account. And we want people to save 15% of their gross income. So take 15% or start. I don't care where you start with. I just care that you start. But off the top, and then if you have a job still, then you take it out of the growth and have your HR drop it into a separate account. If you're in business, you take it off the top of your revenue and you have an account just for capturing wealth. And that money after, 3 months is your emergency fund. Everything above that is your opportunity fund. But that money is there for you to invest in your business, to invest in other assets, for you to create wealth, whereas your business is the engine that generates the cash flow. Part of all you earn is yours to keep. And so I could talk about hour on that, because that's where the game is won and lost, right? At cash flow management.
Amazing. And I think there's probably people who are like, I need to set up that account. And it's so easy these days. I mean, you can open a bank account really online these days.
Uh-huh.
And there's some great online banks where I'm not going to, pitch any of them in particular, but I'm aware of quite a few where you can open it and fund it online. You don't have to go to any branch. And a lot of them even have free in and out, like ACH transfers to your other accounts. So there's no excuse.
That's key. So you're not going to get rich saving. Let me clarify that, right? Because you can't save your way to wealth. But what you can do is it's a holding tank so that when you see an opportunity that you like, you have the capital to do the deal, right? That's what you're saving for. So you're saving so that you have money. So when you see an opportunity to make money, boom, you can put between your money and other people's money, you have the ability to move forward. But it starts with having the discipline to spend less than you make. Okay. And so sorry to cut you off. I get excited.
No, I get excited about this stuff too, for sure. So you were saying that there's these different types of classes of assets. There's businesses, there's real estate, and you went through it all. Do-
Paper and commodities, right? Commodities like oil and gas, gold and silver. And for most people, it's like business, real estate, paper. Unless you're like got a lot of money, you're a credit investor. But the key is to when you save it, you should be looking to, as what's his name? Mr. Wonderful says, I want my money. This is velocity, right? You want your money to put it back out and you want it to come back with friends. So start with your wealth capture account. So if you're in business, for example, I was at dinner last night with a guy who had a really successful plumbing construction business. And I was like, well, listen, because he gets, when you talk to business owners, they already get this. It's like, listen, why would I send money in a solo 401k or something stupid where I can't control it? Where if I put $1 in my business and I can make $2, that's 100%. Well, why would I give it to somebody else where I don't understand it? I can't control it. And he's like, that's exactly right. I've never heard anybody like you talk like that.
Yeah.
Like I know, because I'm you. I'm in business. I'm not just out here, what do they say, whistling Dixie? No.
So what's your favorite of those asset classes? You have to have a favorite. I know it's kind of like
Business.
asking someone
It's actually business. Yeah. It's,
okay.
believe it or not, it's because I'm my father's son, right? So we grew up in business. So I believe the fastest path to cash is business. You can create an enterprise. You have to sell something. And for the most part, you have to sell something. And sales is not this dirty word. It means helping people make a future decision that is good for them. So you got to sell something because that's what business is. You making offers and your product or solution solves a problem somebody has. And when they feel that your solution is worth more valuable than their money, you have an exchange and you're both happy. That's capitalism. Okay. And that's what you're trying to do. And because money follows value. So your income follows creating value in the marketplace. A lot of people are stuck. I need to make more money. Well, you're answering the wrong question. Or you're not asking the right question. The question is, how can I serve more people? How can I create more value in the marketplace? How can I solve bigger problems for people? So how can I solve problems for people that have bigger problems? Because the bigger the problem, the bigger the check. That's why I like business, because you can kind of get that done faster, in my opinion. That's the fastest path to cash.
Well, in business, I mean, I'm biased here, but it's fun. Business is
Yes.
fun. It can be. I mean, and some people are like, oh, business doesn't have to be fun. Pick something boring, but profitable and easy. Other people are like, no, pick something you're passionate about that's going to get you excited every morning. And I love it all. I like the boring businesses. I like the exciting ones you can get passionate about.
Yeah.
I think it's just such a neat enterprise, right? Is what you said, offering value to the world such that they want to reward you with money for that value. It's a nice exchange. Everybody comes out ahead. Everybody's happy. And it really is a way to create wealth that goes beyond working, trading your time every minute for a paycheck. Or because there's a lot of people that if they, for whatever reason, lost their job or had to stop working because of a disability or something that happens, they really just kind of lost their only income stream because that was the only place they were earning anything from.
And see, that's risky. I feel so people say, oh, being in business is risky. I view having a job as risky. You can get fired for, at least in Pennsylvania, right? For any reason, for one or two reasons, any reason or no reason at all. Okay. And so I view that as risky. So like y'all have to have something going on outside of your W-2, right? Because the tax code is designed for landowners and business owners, right? So if you're a cash flow quadrant, if you don't have some type of 1099, or that's actually the second worst way to make money, but 1099 or some self-employed money, you're the highest tax. So, because Tom, we were right. I was at a conference. He said, listen, the tax program is a stimulus program, and it tells you what the government wants you to do, which is create jobs. So who does that? Businesses. Provide housing. So that's real estate. Provide food, agriculture, and provide energy. This is where the commodities, oil and gas, and that kind of stuff comes in. And so if you organize your life to help the government do what they want to get done, you will seriously minimize your taxation, which allows you to keep more of what you make so you can get to financial freedom faster.
And on that note, how do people reach out to you and your company if they want more of what you, Curtis, have to offer?
Thanks for asking. So and I'll give you a link to a free gift where they can One, I have a free report called our 3-part framework of building financial freedom, 5 principles of personal finance. And they can check out our show, the Practical Wealth Show, or YouTube channel, and just search for at Curtis May, or go to Instagram and follow me there. And or go to the show, wherever you listen to podcasts, go there. If you search the Practical Wealth Show, we will come up, right? And then if you are really excited, you can go to practicalwealth.net and you can schedule a 20-minute strategy session, and we can talk about money, anything on your mind about money. No obligation.
Well, talking about money is always, always of benefit, because when you bring awareness to your finances, you're putting your attention there, your focus there. And that's one way to make good things happen, right? Is to actually pay attention. That's step one, is pay attention.
That's right. Awareness is the first
step. Get educated.
Yeah, you got to get educated. You got to manage your cash flow. I mean, it's a bunch of little steps before you even get into products. Let's figure out what's coming in and what's going out. How about that? And just with your inflow and your outflow. That's where the game starts, with cash flow management. And we spend a lot of time on that with our clients.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It's been a great conversation about all things wealth, all things financial freedom. There's a lot of people who learned a lot today. I think there are probably listeners who are racing off to open up that account. I love what you called it. What was it? The Wealth Capture account?
Wealth Capture. Yep.
That's a great name for that account. And again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today and share what you know with the world.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. And I love, hopefully if you just don't do anything else but open up the Wealth Capture account, that will change your life.
Guess what, lifestyle solopreneurs? If you don't yet have an online business earning you enough passive income to live the life of your dreams, I'd like to suggest you consider trying out Kajabi. Kajabi is an all-in-one solution where you can create and teach online courses, publish a paid newsletter, launch a free or paid podcast, process payments, build one-on-one coaching portals for your clients, and much, much more. I personally use Kajabi to power numerous successful and profitable online businesses. Lifestyle solopreneurs, there's a free trial of Kajabi waiting for you at this link, www.kfreetrial.com. You can try Kajabi for free, no obligation, by going to www.kfreetrial.com. Again, kfreetrial.com, and that K stands for Kajabi. Starting an online business helped me break free from that corporate grind, and I hope it does the same for you. You have nothing to lose and absolutely everything to gain. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, and see you next time.